Right, '07 Fiat Grande Punto 1200 active, starting problems. Okay, this broke down in Hereford, wouldn't bump start, well would bump start, sorry, wouldn't start on the starter. So they said on recovery the starter motor had gone, so we had it towed back, put a new starter motor on it. Didn't start, but would bump start, and we were having a steering lights coming on, ABS on the dash. So I started investigating. First of all I checked the fuse across here. Okay, if you've got a punto it only bump starts. Always check if it bump starts if it's a starting problem. So I put a positive there, an earth on the earth terminal, and I had a reading of power, so the fuse hadn't gone. Also I was underneath the car checking the power. The start motor's at the back there. If you jack the car up, put some blocks under the back wheel, put an axle stand under there so it doesn't fall on you, and you can just see the start motor. There's one nut on the top of this side, and the other nut holding it is underneath, and there's one on the power, on the two power cables. Each power cable is separated by a plastic cover so they don't touch each other. So we'll take the top one out first, which is tricky, a bit to here, and then the other one's easy, and then it just slightly twist and it'll pull out if you have to change one. Anyway, back to the starting problem. So, and then I read on the internet something about an earth problem, so it clearly wasn't that. And I had power down on the starter motor, I put a positive on the starter motor and an earth on the engine. I was getting a reading of 12 volts. I was thinking, well. And then we bumped it again, it started, and then it stopped starting. And then we had the padlock signs on the dash. And as you can see down there, there's the engine mount on the body. Power to the, not the engine mount, the power from the earth, it goes on the body and then down across under the cylinder is the, you don't have to mount it there, but you see the red cable now. The reason why it's red is because I changed it to a red, so I didn't have a black one. Because what happened was, after the padlock signs come on the dash, meaning immobilised on it wouldn't bump. So I cleaned up all the earths and put them back on, but didn't notice any break. They was hanging on by two strands in the one going to the engine, which was black at the time, and then they broke, which put the padlock signs on the dash. So then I ran my hands up the plastic cable, and I could feel that there was nothing in the middle of the plastic. It had snapped, but you couldn't see it. But before the last two strands broke, I still could get a reading off the engine, so I didn't know the earth had broken. So that's what the problem was. I replaced it with a red one for now. But if you undo the two nuts, if you want to put it back on there for the slave cylinder, be careful when you push it back in onto the arm of the clutch, make sure it sits in as well as your fluid pissing out everywhere. So that's exactly what happened to me. So that's why it would bump but wouldn't start off the starter, just a shitty earth cable. I cleaned up the ones on the body. So that's all I can say really. If you have a problem with a punto, obviously we've had the usual problems with the fan, which was just a dodgy. Let's have a look. The fan stopped working. It's up, but you can, I don't know if you can see it, but it's up under there. There's just a couple of dodgy wires up underneath the just messed with the WD and they were away, and it started buzzing again. But the Corsa C has the same fan on if you ever need one for it. And it's only a 10-minute job to fit one. I thought it was the alternator at first, not enough power charging the battery, but the battery was fully charged and the alternator was charging as well. So once it was bump started, I checked the charge and that was fine. Sometimes you get lights bulbs just going out on these things, but they don't go, they just wiggle the wires and they come back on. It also puts the triangle on the dash on this model. But once I got it going and I drove it for a couple of miles, all the warning signs went off on the dash. So that's that sorted. There is no actual relay for the starter in this box. That was a waste of time searching for that. Because it started solenoid combined on the back. But otherwise that was it. So if you have any problems, I first go for if it bump starts, go for the earth. And obviously test your battery. So the battery, get it bump started, check the voltage on your battery. It's a 13, 14 going in when it's running, and about 12 when it's not, 11 and a half, 12 if it's stationary. Never buy a damn Fiat.